All right, so in this video, we are looking at very key concepts of multiculturalism and interculturalism. And specifically, we are looking at the impact of interculturalism on multiculturalism. So let's begin by understanding what these concepts are. Multiculturalism is very famous in most societies, especially Western societies, and it has played a role in diversity and ensuring that society has multiple perspectives and so forth. So multiculturalism then, by definition, MC, by definition is multiple cultures coexisting in one space, right? So coexistence in one space. So let's put that here, coexistence in one space. And when we say space, we are talking about society. All right, so we have multiple cultures in one space, and they've come as a result of immigration or as a result of other reasons. They've come and they are there in that space, etc. Now, multiculturalism is good for a number of reasons because it gives us diversity, gives us its strength, it gives us designation, and a whole host of other things, and that's a good thing, right? But here, let's take a look at this example. So here we have, this is the space, and let's call this space XYZ space, and we have culture A, culture B, culture C, and culture D. They're all in this space. But there is something else that is going on in this space, and that is what we call silos, ethnic silos, right? So silos, so these cultures are in their own communities. They are all in their own communities, and there is hardly any interaction. As you can see, they are walled off from one another. So A is not interacting with B, and B is not interacting with C, and C is not interacting with D. They're doing their own thing. And essentially, even if there's interaction, perhaps very minimal interaction, but they're doing their own thing. And because they're doing their own thing, what we have is multiculturalism. And that's it. Multiculturalism, once again, simply says multiple cultures coexisting in one space, right? So they are living in one space. But the question is, are they living in harmony in that one space? Are they living in harmony in that one space? That's the question, right? So if they are not living in harmony in one space, then that's all you have, multiculturalism. But here, the suggestion is we ought to go further than multiculturalism to another concept, the second concept, which is interculturalism. And let's take a look at this concept and see how it interacts with, or should interact with, multiculturalism. So interculturalism then is, as the name suggests, beginning with the first three letters, first five letters. Inter means between, right? Inter means between. For example, interstate highway. That highway goes from one state to the other and to, many states. Province highway, inter-regional highway, and so forth. So inter is between. And so this concept of interculturalism then is suggesting that because we have multiculturalism, and we ought to go beyond the idea of multiculturalism, and that is multiple cultures again in one space, we ought to go beyond that and do better than just existing. And then he says we ought to take down these walls. We ought to take down these walls that are separating the cultures, right? And then have a different mindset, a different way of coexisting without walls. And this is where interculturalism comes in. So now we don't have walls, rather we have channels. These are channels of communication. we have channels of communication. They are going in both ways. You have channels of communication amongst the different groups. So now they are able to interact effectively, and they are able to communicate, and they're able to collaborate on a number of things. This is what interculturalism does. And essentially, multiculturalism should not be the end all. And a lot of societies believe that this is the end all. Because they have multiculturalism, they have arrived. Not so. They ought to go beyond multiculturalism and really activate multiculturalism with interculturalism. So in essence, interculturalism completes multiculturalism. Interculturalism completes multiculturalism because when we have multiculturalism in the society is functional. It's truly functional and truly multicultural. In the true sense of multiculturalism, it's truly multicultural and functional. And the different groups coexist. They maintain their identity, right? Multiculturalism and interculturalism does not mean that you lose your identity. You still have your identity. But respecting the identity, the culture, and the values of the others, and accepting their right to be in that space as well. That's why interculturalism is very critical. And that's why, once again, multiculturalism should be the means to the end. And the end should be interculturalism. And only when that happens, and only when there is interculturalism, do we as a society have true diversity, right? Diversity and understanding in society, right? So another example could be a 5-bedroom house. So let's take a look at this example. A 5-bedroom house that has different tenants, different tenants, and you have tenants from different countries. So the first tenant is a Jamaican, and the second tenant is from Australia, and the third tenant is from Canada. The fourth tenant is from South Africa, and the fifth tenant is from India. All right, so they all live in this house, and it's a 5-bedroom house with a big living room. But they all stay locked in their rooms and don't interact. They go to work, they come back, and go into their rooms and watch TV and be on the internet and so forth. They don't interact. Well, then, this is a multicultural house. It's right to call it so. So somebody can refer to this house as that house, about 50 State Street in Soso City, is a multicultural house, right? And they will be correct. But what is missing is interculturalism. And they know nothing about each other. They know nothing about, the likes or dislikes, the culture, and the tradition of the different tenants in the room. They know nothing about one another. So they have multiculturalism, but they don't have interculturalism. But then when they take off, when they leave the rooms and all converge in the living room and start interacting frequently and discussing their culture and their experiences, etc., at that point, they have interculturalism. They have interculturalism. And that's what it's about. So, and that's the impact of interculturalism and multiculturalism. And that should be the end result, interculturalism.